In the tranquility of the night, some stories quietly come to life. Welcome to Hauntings and Horrors. Now, I will take you through a chilling tales. Hi everyone. I have been contemplating about writing this for a long time. The truth is, I don't know if this is real or if it's all in my head. Whatever this is, though, has changed me in so many ways, and I know that I'm in danger. We all are. But let's start from the beginning. The first time that it happened, I was praying. I had recently lost my grandmother, and I was feeling lost. I decided that I would turn to God to find some peace and some answers and come to terms with her death. The chapel I went to was the one that my grandmother used to take me to. It was small, that it was very quiet. Not many people visited. I decided to go there to feel closer to her. As I walked in, I could see no one, and which made me feel better. I really didn't want to lose it in front of other people. I sat down to enjoy the silence and started praying. Imagine my surprise when, in the middle of my prayer, I heard this little voice whispering, "I hear you." I jumped up and I looked around. I was clearly alone, and I could not locate the source of the voice. I decided that it was just a figment of my imagination. I continued to pray 5 minutes later, though, the voice came stronger. "You shouldn't be doing that." It was right next to my ear, so close that, amid the hairs on my neck, stand up and send shivers down my spine. As I turned around, I came face to face with a girl. She couldn't have been older than I was, and maybe 16 or 17. She was wearing this red dress and she was barefoot. Her hair was the darkest black that I have ever seen, and her eyes the same. I started screaming, but at the same time I was mesmerized by her beauty. She said, putting her hand on my mouth, "Do you want Father to hear us?" Her touch was soothing and not threatening in any way. "Who are you?" I asked, trying to fight back the tears. "I am the devil." She shouted the first unwanted. Oh, I started trembling fearing that this was the end of me. She moves closer, as if reading my mind. "Don't worry, child. I won't hurt you. I'm not the one you should be afraid of. I have come to warn you, as I have done with so many others." I could see fear in her eyes. I tried again to locate the source of the sound tent. By the time I turned around to face her, she was gone. Only her scent lingered, and this lovely lavender scent. I stayed there, not moving, trying to listen for what felt like hours. I was sure that I was going crazy, and I convinced myself this was all due to grief and lack of sleep. But as I closed the door behind me to head to my car, I heard the whisper, "Be careful." It had been a week since the incident, and I had almost forgotten about it. I could hear the occasional whisper and catch a glimpse of something red in the corner of my eye, but never something specific. Fate would have it that I had to go and pick up my mom from the bus station. And the only way there, yes, you guessed it, was past the road with the chapel. The drive was uneventful, until I got to the crossing in front of the chapel. I was getting nervous, remembering what had happened. So I turned the radio on louder, and I tried to find a relaxing song. And that's when it came, the smell, the lavender smell. I looked up from the radio. When there she was. She was standing right in front of my car. She looked exactly as she did before, about to different at the same time. Older and tired. I screamed and I got out of the car. I started running to the field behind me. I was losing it. The tears came and asked to come to my fate. I turned around to face her as I could feel she had followed me. "What do you want from me here?" I screamed at her. She looked at me with that deep sadness in her eyes, and she came closer. "I want you to hear me out. Child, I want to protect you. I am running out of time and you have to help me here." I was lost for words, but to somehow mastered the courage to reply me. "Help you what? Aren't you supposed to be all-powerful and evil? Aren't you the devil?" She came up next to me, and this time she smiled. "My lovely child. Yes, I was powerful once, but evil never asked for the name. I kind of hate it. You can call me Evelyn. Somewhere in the distance, Whistling was hired. I tried to speak, but she cut me off. Child, you have to understand. That's what you know is all wrong. The world is in danger. You have been taught so many lies. You have been deceived. I am not the one that you should be afraid of. I am not the one that is going to hurt you when I was God. Once hearing that, I started laughing. I laughed and laughed because I was sure that I was crazy. This could not be happening. This thing in front of me. Evelyn was claiming to be God. She grabbed my hand and my life was cut short. Child, you have to understand. She said I don't have much time. Can't you see that I'm different? I'm getting older. Her dying. Ivana. He found a way to make it happen. And if I'm gone, there is no way to save you. See through the lies and believe me here. The whistling was heard again. Closer. She squeezed my hand with profound urgency and pleading eyes. Whatever made me say the next word has changed my life forever. Okay, let's say that I start to believe you. How can I help what is happening? The wind picked up. Suddenly I saw her. Shivrena. Not here, not here. Chisada. I will explain tonight in the chapel. Tell no one where you're going. Don't even think about it in your mind. He is everywhere. And with that she disappeared. I was left alone. Once again thinking that I was insane imagining things. The red mark on my hand from where she had helped me bail was there to prove me wrong. I suddenly remembered about my mom and I checked the time. I was surprised to see that no time had passed and somehow I was standing right next to my car. I decided to do what I was told and to not dwell on it in my head. I don't know who he was, but I was suddenly afraid. The rest of the drive was uneventful, and I do have to admit that seeing my mom made me feel better. Upon returning home, the hunting home, we sat down and we had dinner together, happily chatting away. I'm reminiscing about the last time she had came to visit. Suddenly she stood up and proceeded to say that she had a gift for me. She ran out of the car and brought in this little package and gave it to me. I hope you like it. My dear, it's new perfume. Try it. Shiitsada. I thanked her and I proceeded to open it. I took the cap off to smell. Attend. I froze. It was lavender. I tried my best to hide my horror from my mother, and I casually asked her why she had chose to buy me this specific one. In retrospect, I wish that I never had asked her, because her answer chilled me to the core. She had explained that she was in the shop struggling to buy me a present, when a girl had approached her, a girl roughly my age with a lovely red dress. Her hair was the darkest, black and sober her eyes, and my mom said she was instantly drawn to the girl and they started chatting. The girl was really interested to hear that my mother had a daughter and asked all sorts of questions about me. She said that the girl suggested the perfume because it was her favorite. My mother said that the girl seemed sure that I would love it because lavender is such a soothing and familiar scent. I wish I could tell her how wrong she was with this discovery in my mind. I decided that I couldn't hear anymore, so I found an excuse to cut the conversation short and put a film on this. A couple of hours later, I said goodnight to my mom and headed up to my room. The time was almost midnight and I made sure that my mom went to bed. I waited a bit until she had fallen asleep and I got ready to make my way to the chapel. I was terrified but determined to find out what was going on. Okay, Evelyn, I whispered as I got into the car, and you had my attention. As I was driving to the chapel, I was sure that somebody was following me. I choked it up to my nerves and I drove on. I barely realized till I got there, since my man was preoccupied with wondering what she was going to tell me. I parked my car down a small alley so it wouldn't be visible. Took a deep breath and I went in. Upon entering, all my nerves and agitation disappeared. The lavender scent was there and all the candles were lit. Given the inside of the chapel, soft, warm glow that made me smile. I scanned the room with my eyes until I found her, and that's when my smile disappeared. She was hiding in the corner, visibly shaken, and I could see a slash on her right cheek. What made more of an impression on me was that, once again, she looked older and a lot more tired. I approached her with caution and I whispered her name. She suddenly looked up and I noticed her eyes light up at seeing me. Oh, I'm so glad it's you. I was scared that he had found me again. Oh, you've come closer. I need to tell you everything before it's too late. The way she said my name made me shiver. The familiarity struck me and I was left. Never. I felt that I had seen this before. For the first time since I first saw her. I felt like I really knew her. She caught up with my change of demeanor and she came closer here. So you start to remember her. I was hoping we would not have to have this conversation again. No, I was hoping that I had managed to keep you safe. I held her hand and I tried to concentrate. But I couldn't. Please tell me what is happening. Lalitha. Yes, this all seems familiar, but I can't piece anything together. She smiled softly, that warm, knowing smile, and she started her story. Eve, first of all, you have to understand why it is vital for you to stay safe. It all started 1,000 years ago. My father created me and my brothers as angels. We were powerful beings, and when we gladly helped Father to create the rest of the world after we had finished, Father was content. But I felt empty. Here I felt that this beauty and this creation went underestimated. I felt we needed to create morons. So I did it. I created you. Even Elon said you. And on that, I knew Father would never approve, as he wanted to be the sole creator of everything in the universe. You see, Father was loving, but within limits. You could never defy Gabriel. You had to obey his rules. I kept you and Adam safe in the Garden of Eden, and you were so happy, and believe me if you were truly happy. But one day the inevitable happened. You called me, oh God. A word so powerful on its own that stirred things, changed the balance, and he knew I begged him to spare you. I begged him to take it out on me, to leave you. You. My children. Ilana. And he promised that he would. Even if I gave up my heavenly rights and walked out of heaven once and for all. He promised that he would allow you to keep Lavina. I had no choice and I laughed. But Father was cruel. Yes, he kept you alive. But I ended your existence. He made you miserable. He made you believe that he had created you and that he owns you. He made you hate me and praised. Hannah, if you have to understand, you never deserved this humanity. Never did. You did nothing wrong. And the books and the teachings, everything is a lie. You are innocent. Even I had this point. I was crying my eyes out. My memory was still hazy. But I knew that this was true. How did I get here? I managed to ask, how can I be alive? Yes, you would always ask me this. You have to understand that Father didn't count on one of his favorites loving me more than Ham. Daniel, let me know of Father's plans to deceive you with the apple. So I managed to put some of my grace in it. Once you took a bite, you became immortal. Even when your body dies, you simply move on to a new mana. And it is the same for Adam. I have managed to keep you safe by erasing your memory from time to time. But said have I in Ozosha? Daniel is long gone. And this is my last chance. You have to find out. You have to find him and help him remember. And then you have to save the world. And I was lost for words. I looked at her and I tried to understand what was happening. When suddenly in the Alton, whistling came back. Evelyn screamed in agony, and the candles went out, and I see feeling came over me, and I saw a shadow moving closer. This was surreal. It was pitch black in the chapel, but still the shadow was clearly visible. It was like it was sucking all the air out of the room. I almost fainted when I heard his voice. Finally I found you. Johanna. I screamed in terror. The candles came back on and I saw Gabriel. He was standing behind Evelyn and he looked nothing like I imagined. He was holding her clothes, hugging her. But you could see that she was hurting. Who are you? What do you want from me? I asked. He laughed. This Ryan laugh that reached the bottom of my soul. I wasn't talking to you. Child. He said I was talking to my child. Hilda. The one that betrayed me. Evelyn. Oh, why would you do this to your own father and father? Haven't we been through NAM before an offer? Don't you miss Havisham as a bender? The Evelyn looked at him in disgust. You are not my father. You killer cast away anything that doesn't fit your rules. What have you done to Daniel? Ah yes, Daniel. The other does no vision. Child Iota. Let's just say Daniel. Every pro-and, Nolren. He knows where he belongs to how long Sawa. He said while grabbing her tighter. I couldn't take any more and I lunged at Emma. He stabbed me with his eyes. The pain was excruciating. I howled. He laughed and laughed, and I could hear his laugh of my horror. Please stop hurting her. Please. Father. Stop. Evelyn's screams had managed to escape his grasp. She put her hand to my forehead and immediately the pain went away. Oh, love Earth. Aren't you tired of wasting phrases? She is clearly not the same. Do you think? Yes, you will die in vain and Bana, and Bona. And with that last comment he pulled her close once again in flames. Engulfed her. She fell backwards with empty eyes looking at the ceiling. But what did you do to her? To her? You monster. I cried. But he was on dawn. The lavender scent, too, disappeared. And all I was left was darkness. Then this cold whisper. Don't they say? God works in mysterious ways. The stories have been told, but their shadows will continue to haunt our minds. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to Hauntings and Horrors. Turn on notifications so you won't miss any thrilling horror stories. Good night and sweet dreams.